All right, everybody, let's get today's program started. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Lunchtime Discovery Series. Happy Earth Day, everybody. Well, Earth Day was yesterday, but you're here today, so we're going to celebrate it today. Welcome to the lecture series. My name is Chris. I work for the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, and I'm your host for the Lunchtime Discovery Series. It's a program that's organized by the folks in the Office of Environmental Education and Public Affairs within the Department of Environmental Quality, doing great work, finding amazing, incredible people to share their insights, knowledge, and experiences with us almost every single Wednesday right here at noon on the museum's YouTube channel. And I'm very excited for today's program. Well, I'm always excited. We have a lot of fun. Of course, the month of April, we've been celebrating as Earth Month because it has Earth Day in it. We decided let's stretch it out. Why celebrate Earth only one day out of the year? Let's do it all month long. And we've been hearing stories of investing in people and in places and investing in the future. And so for today's program, we're going to do a little bit of that investing in the future, because the program that we're going to hear about today is all about getting North Carolina's teachers and educators incredible experiences out in nature that they can take back to their students, to their colleagues, and probably, I hope, to their neighbors as well. I'm pretty sure that everybody in the orbit of these folks has heard about these experiences and how special and important they can be, also that we can try to make the world a better place. And I'm very excited for the presentation. I'm also excited for this presentation because today's guest got to go spend time on Frying Pan Tower, which is on my bucket list. If y'all don't know about it, I think we're going to learn about it and see some cool photos and videos. But, well, let me bring in today's guest because now we just got to learn about it. I want to see these pictures. First up, everybody, I want you to meet Dr. Erika Young. Dr. Young is the Coastal and Marine Education Specialist for NC Sea Grant. Hi, Erika.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. We've also got Adam Smith. He's a teacher at South Stanley Middle School and a friend of the museum. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Chris. Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
And then new friends to me, everybody say hi to Cindy Martin. Cindy Martin is with Montgomery County Early College. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having us on.
And then we have the Dean of Arts and Sciences from Brunswick Community College, Dr. Kim Jones. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Chris. Great to be here. Thank you.
I am very excited to hear about y'all's experience out on Frying Pan Tower and some of the fun stuff y'all got into. So, Erika, I will turn the program over to you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for all being here and coordinating. I met Chris many years, well, not many, maybe 3 years ago, and thought, wow, I'll never do anything cool enough to be invited for the lunchtime. And he was like, yeah, you will. I'm like, nah, but wow, we're here. So I'm super excited to share this opportunity that I had to invite some educators out to Frying Pan Tower. And I don't know if we're going to have a formal transition. I just have lots of photos and fun things that we've done. And hopefully we'll all tag team and talk about our experience on Frying Pan last summer, almost a year ago. So I do have some slides, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And hopefully that pops up. This was a cooperative agreement. This was a small grant from NOAA for special topics and special workshops. And we also partnered with Gail Lemick from the Fort Fisher Aquarium and, of course, with Frying Pan Tower. So if you're not familiar with Frying Pan Tower, it used to be a light station for the Coast Guard many, many years ago. It's since retired. It's about 32 miles offshore. So if you can sort of orient yourself to Oak Island and Carolina Beach. And so the star is actually where the tower is located. It was staffed until 1979 and then purchased by Richard Neal, who I hope is in the audience. He's actually out on the tower right now. So hopefully he can chime in and correct me if I say anything wrong. So there's all these old blueprints of the tower and how it looked. And so his mission and goal is to restore this wonderful part of history and then to have it grow into something fabulous, like a possible research station. You can only get there by boat or helicopter, and I don't even know if you can do helicopter right now, but that is where we're at. It has often been confused as an oil rig. That is not true. It is from the Coast Guard, and there's remnants of that inside of the tower, and it's just a part of history, and you feel very connected. Okay. This is the group. So you have 3 of the 5 educators here on the call or on the live stream. And then we did partner again with Gail Lemick. If you recognize her behind Cindy, this is under the belly of the tower. And then we also had Andrea Mason from Onslow County and Megan Hardy from Pitt County. And so the workshop grant was a very small amount of money. It was about $15,000. And North Carolina doesn't have a lot of field-based things, field-based activities for formal educators to do. And I was in academics for a really long time and knew what type of content that teachers get in terms of science, and wanted to create a program where they were able to go out in the field or at a research station and actually participate in science. And Google says that I did not invent the word returnship, but I beg to differ. I'd never heard that word before. So I thought, well, this is not an internship. It's a little bit short-lived, but let's return all of these science teachers and educators back to the basics of just hardcore scientific methodology. And so that was the premise of the grant. And then I thought, well, we might as well go somewhere really cool to do it. And I started bugging Richard. He might not agree that I bugged him, but I really, truly think I bugged him. And at that point in time, the tower was getting lots of attention of being the scariest hotel and the world's highest bed and breakfast and all these crazy things. And I don't know if that really matched the mission that Richard wanted the tower to have. So I thought, you know what, this would be a great scientific research hub. And that is hopefully some of the future of the tower. I had about 130 applicants all over the country, as far away as California, that wanted to come out to the tower, but this grant was specifically for North Carolina educators from underserved areas or for Title I schools. And so these 5 were selected, and I'll tell you, this was the hardest decision I've ever made, I think, in my life. I think I've told them that as well. But somehow, magically, these 5 became just, this is a tight-knit community in space, and it was just a load of fun. And I don't want to talk the whole time. I want to give everybody a chance to talk about their experience. So I'm just going to go through some slides and let's discuss what's happening. I don't know how I lucked out and had 3 photographers as the 5 selected, but the footage and the images and the video we got out there was great. So I think Cindy took this picture of a sea turtle from 82 or 90 feet up. I'm not sure where you were, Cindy.
Was on the back deck, I think.
Yeah. And so that's Megan going down to snorkel on the bosun swing, and then some underwater footage. We were able to take an Insta360 camera to go all the way down. And then the educators were able to narrate everything that they saw. And I do have a link for that. It's about a 10-minute video. And then they were able to bring that video back and show their classrooms. So this is all of the group here on the bottom right. You see Richard beside Kim. And yeah, we were there for, well, we had to be flexible. At first it was 5 days, and then it was too windy to leave. And I think that was the number one thing about being on the tower, is the flexibility, because we had lots of things scheduled, but the tower doesn't always abide by your rules, or never abides by your rules. So we had to improvise. Do you guys have anything you wanted to add about anything so far? Or should I advance?
Yeah, just with that, with you mentioning us having to improvise and the days and all that, kind of goes on to our first meeting with you. You scared us a little bit because, you know, we're like, here's the days that I have scheduled for this, but it may be 2 days sooner. It may be 3 days later. Hopefully, y'all are scheduled anywhere within a month of this time because the tower doesn't actually follow my plans. And I think that that is true to everything we did on the tower. It's whatever it wanted us to do is what we had to do. It wasn't up to what you had planned.
Right. Yeah. I did truly try to scare them. I wanted them, and I haven't been to the tower very many times, but I wanted them to all know what they were getting into. So the first question was, can you swim? Not that we could all swim 32 miles back to shore, but if you fall off because you're sleepwalking, like, can you swim to the pole and hold on until we can get a chair down there to pick you back up? And I just didn't want any surprises, even though, again, you can't predict anything that's going to happen out there. And the the legality of getting everyone out on top of the waiver from Frying Pan, I'm with Sea Grant at NC State, so our lawyers got involved. And to just be very clear, she said, list every way. I don't know if I should say this. She said, list every way they can die between the time they get out of their car at the marina until the time they get back in their car at the marina. And so that's what they had to waive any of our responsibility for all the different ways. So I think I included fungal infections and viruses and bacterial infections and, negative animal encounters. And sleepwalking was a concern because you guys will remember the doors are usually open because of the airflow and keeping it nice and cool. So yeah, that was a concern. Does anyone sleepwalk? This is how we get our stuff up. I mean, you can't call out for food and you can't leave to go pick up food. So you have to bring everything with you in these large hoist bags. And Richard has already climbed to the top and started organizing and using the hoist. And we put everything in these large bags and we go up. And that's awesome. Adam's view. Adam, you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, no, it
What was
was
it like?
so the way you get up there, they send down these who are they Coast Guard seats or whatever they are, these specialty seats, and you have to put it on before you even get up there. And you're on this boat, it's sitting there rocking back and forth. And here comes down a carabiner, and they're like, hopefully you got your seat on right, because we're going to carabine you, and then the boat's going to move out the way and you're going up. And so it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it is. You're sitting there, carabiner you in, start hoisting you up, and then you look over, and as you're getting pulled that 90 feet up in the air, you just start looking out, and it's just ocean, and you're in the air, and it's like, holy crap. It was quite the sight.
Yeah. Kim, Cindy, you guys want to share what it was like going out the first time?
I just thought, well, if I fall, I can swim. They'll come and get me. That's the worst that could happen is that I fall. Let's go. But it was incredible.
It was beautiful. That previous slide was more nerve-wracking for me, where my computer and my camera and everything was going up in the hoist. I was like, I can swim if I fall, but there's my life right there.
Mm-hmm.
It was all good though.
Yeah. And then you can see the rest of us in the boat. And I was able to rent a few of GoPro cameras and all the attachments for everyone so that they could use it at their leisure for snorkeling or for, just exploring around the tower. So that was just the best shot ever because, you're looking up and you realize how small that boat is getting after you've been on it. And it seems pretty big when you're on it. And then when you get hoisted up, you look down and it looks like a little toy boat. So, yeah. Let's see. So what did we do? I mean, we tried to have an organized schedule of things that we did every day. We took basic physical oceanography measurements. We talked about research and design, the scientific method. We did some experimentation. We did lots of things with plankton tows. And then Snorkeling is precarious. I think I've got some photos, and we'll talk about snorkeling off the tower. And then we also did some lesson plan development for a book called North Carolina Amazing Coast that was written by my predecessor, Terry Kirby Hathaway. And so then Richard does, I'm hoping maybe he's listening, maybe he's not, but I think he agrees. He does collect, and we have lots of stuff. This is the family kind of open room and dining room space of the tower. And this photo was actually taken with when another individual was, oh my gosh, his name has just completely slipped my mind. Mark, is it Mark? He rode it's leaving me. The big unit with the propeller. I can't think of the name of it. He rode that back.
An ultralight.
Yeah, he rode that back to Oak Island that particular time I was there. So that is an entirely different conversation. So yeah, so this is sort of the rec room, and we've got the pool table is just the original one from the 60s, and I think some of the furniture still is there, is still pretty old. But yep, lots of windows and first aid kits, and there's just I don't know what else you can see there, just lots of collection and all the radios and all of the gadgetry that Richard has, and cameras. There's also air conditioning, if you can see that kind of in the top of the ceiling panel. So yeah, lots of the amenities from home. Yeah, you guys want to talk about what we did a little bit?
We did have to each day hoist up water to do our pH tests and things like that, and water for whatever we were going to study it. So that was I believe we did it twice a day. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got to have some of these scientists that we had on the boat actually show me how to do it, and it was it took a few minutes to send a bucket down and pull it back up 90 feet each time. Had to make sure we didn't fill it up all the way, because then it would take 2 or 3 people to get it up. You start to get tired.
You never know how much 5 gallons of water weighs when you're hoisting at 90 feet with a rope. It gets heavy. All right. And that's Megan and Andrea with the bucket that time. And then I don't know if they helped every time. In the end, it ended up just being Adam out there pulling up the bucket of water every day. And we use the water for lots of things. We even made salt, and we'll talk about that experience hopefully too. All right. I think everyone always wants to know, can you fish off the tower? So I had to throw this photo in.
We had some fun fishing. We did. Yeah.
We definitely caught fish.
Did you guys reel it up by hand, or did Kim, did you use the battery operated reel at all?
No, we didn't. We reeled it up by hand, and I've got a grunt there. I think Megan's got a ring-tailed pinfish going on. I think you've got a grunt there too, Cindy, and
Yep.
and the grunts were big enough to cook up for some dinner.
Yep.
Is that what we cooked? Did
That
we
is
cook
what we
those?
cooked. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I might have a slide of that. Oh, of course I do. There we go. So the fish in the previous slide were then immediately turned into a small appetizer we had before. So there's lots of galley time at the tower, because you are bringing everything that you're going to eat for any meal that you want. And it was just a collaborative effort. I kind of had a sign-up sheet for if anyone wanted to make their own particular dish for everyone. And I think Richard has some preferences for things that that folks cook, and it was just a wonderful time. Yep, lots of galley time. So his rules, and I these are great rules probably for any kitchen in anywhere, is you're going to do 2 of the 3. And so if you were not the cook, then you were definitely going to eat and help clean up. But it just wasn't an issue. Everybody just did what they needed to do to get it done. And it just reset after every meal. And I'm not sure what we had that night. but that's Gail at the stove. And yeah, it's also just a landing area for folks to just sort of chat, just like any other kitchen. It's just on the tower.
Richard is actually he was eating the blueberry cobbler, the blueberry and strawberry cobbler that I made that night.
Oh, that's right.
Remember, we had strawberries and stuff that were going bad. And I said, have you got sugar and flour? And he said, yeah. And I said, I'll make a pie. And he said, no, you can't. And I said, yes, I can. Stand back. So he was actually sampling the cobbler.
I know, that was so good. We had a wonderful birthday surprise on the tower as well. Yeah, well, I think I might have a photo or two of that as well. This is the drone view. So Kim, I'm going to let you talk about this drone situation, and it still makes me nervous thinking about it.
We had a lot of wind while we were there, and I was afraid to put the drone up from the helicopter pad up top. Afraid it would just go flying off into the ocean or off to Southport or someplace far away that I couldn't retrieve it. And so got brave enough on the last day when the wind calmed down to put the drone up, and everybody was working on a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, that was getting put down for the first time. And so it gave me an opportunity to get out there and get a nice shot with the drone, everybody working on the outside platform.
And if you see Kim's background photo, that's her on the very top deck to the right, and then just a sort of a different shot from looking at where we are on the other platform. What are we doing? Okay, so I think I'm leading the line out. Gail's guiding. And yeah, I think Richard is down with the ROV, and we had to have the line for that to be able to operate it from the inside. And then I think, Adam, you really worked a lot with that ROV and got it up and going. It was awesome.
Yeah, you can't see me. I'm in the window. So I was it looks like a PlayStation controller, and it was hooked up to his computer because it is tethered, and he was down at the bottom, and we were trying to get the buoyancy and all that right with his ROV. I believe he had a different battery than was originally with it. So it was either heavier or lighter. I can't remember which. So he was trying to figure out how many weights he needed to put onto the ROV to get the buoyancy right with it. And so that's where we're at there. And he is in there because you can see the pole goes all the way down, and he's in the water on the swing seat with it.
And you can see how calm it was that day. So I think, did we snorkeled this day, or was it the next day when it was calm as well?
I think it was all this day.
Okay. And of course, any given day, there's tons of fishermen that go out. There's led programs for shark tooth hunting, and lots and lots of fishermen. So it's a shoal. It's very, very shallow. It's, I think, 50 or so odd feet, and you can see the bottom from the surface. So you see the sharks swimming around. I think we all inadvertently, I mean, if you're at the tower and you're in the water, you're swimming with sharks, but we were definitely swimming with sharks. They just blend in very well from the top down. And it wasn't quite as clear in the water as it has been, but we were definitely swimming with the sharks. Let's see. Oh, yep. So Richard has lots of toys. But this one we were able to, what did I say? Yep. We connected the 360 Insta camera footage to the, my words have, there you go. My words have completely escaped me. And so then you can take, as you move your head with these on, you are seeing what the Insta camera saw. So he has uploaded that video, and I do have a link here. And this link allows you to also be interactive with the video. So you can move the camera around with your mouse. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that on any of these YouTube videos, but I can show a little bit of that. And so this is the same one that the educators were able to come back and narrate and just talk about what they were seeing. And that was what we did day one, was deploy the camera. It was a super fun toy. And then some of the more popular things, I guess you can see from this view, are the flags. And so a lot of the flags have withstood hurricanes and all sorts of storms. And I think one was raffled off for Red Cross at one time, just how rough the wind can actually be. And that was another thing I tried to scare the applicants for is Richard says, no, you can feel the tower move. When it's really windy, it's just a very gentle sway. I mean, it doesn't pitch much. It's not scary. It's just you feel like you're kind of on a boat 90 feet up in the air. So let's see if this one will work. And I'll have to share that one. So just give me just a second.
I have to finish this paper. I'm swamped.
Sorry.
No one told me college would be so damn.
So I'm going to fast forward until we get sort of to the bottom. And there are a few shark moments about here. And I'm not sure how I can share links with you guys, but this is the one where I'm just going to move my mouse and this moves the camera footage so you can see what the camera saw. Oh, here we go. Oh, he booped. Let's go back, and it was super fun. You heard it. Oh, there he goes. Yeah. So that's a sand tiger shark. So they are very prolific, and I think there's some permanent residents there as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and then go back to the slides. Okay. That work? Am I back? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. And so then now a plankton tow, if you guys have ever done one of these are just super fun. It's just one of the best things ever. And Kim, were you fishing with this? You had this on a fishing pole, right?
Well, I think the plan was originally when we went down to snorkel, and it would hopefully be earlier in the week, that we would be able to get all kinds of samples. And then it was so windy that we couldn't get down into the water and take our samples. So we put the plankton tow on a fishing rod and cast it out there, and particularly wanted to get some sargassum samples. And so it was fishing for sargassum that day. And we were successful in getting all kinds of wonderful critters.
And this looks like, I think I've zoomed in on this photo, but this is a tiny thing once it's down deployed. And the random patches of sargassum, it's just, I don't know how you guys caught it, but you guys caught tons of stuff. So yeah, that's how you get down there, is with a fishing pole. Oh, there you are. And so I think the battery had died, or I don't remember. I don't think it worked. And you had to like reel it back up, just like with fishing. All right, some more sargassum. Here we go. Yeah, so this day, Richard has taken water and filtered the water and made salt. And one of the first times I was out there, he brought up water and put it on the stove and was going to proceed to make salt. And I thought, well, aren't you going to strain that water first? And he said, well, no, what's in there? He said, there's nothing in there. It's just water. I'm like, okay. You're going to boil it to death. It's totally fine. But there are things in this water. And so this is the sample coming up from the plankton tow. We had some microscopy going on, and we had, low lights. I think he's holding a flashlight to actually let us record it, but he saw plankton and tiny little critters that go through that sieve. And that would have been in all of the salt that he has ever made, except for this episode of salt making, because we did use filtered water. And not that anything in there would have lasted through the 24 hours of boiling that you do to make the salt, but just to show that there were critters. And we normally kind of got together for all the meals, and I don't think we ate until midday, because we kept bringing up samples and we kept making slides. And then I had a fun little camera connected to the microscope. So yeah, I've got some things that we saw. We had a little guidebook and just, can you guys see him swimming around? Yeah, just all sorts of fun little critters. Things I can't identify all of these things, just, some things I can, some things I can't, but it's super fun to see some of the things that were in the samples of salt that he's probably given. And I don't know who I might be ruining that for if you've ever been to the tower and he gave you salt that had these things in it. Boiled down, of course, but nonetheless. And then lots of vertebrates. I cannot remember the name of this one vertebrate. It was a new one for me. And was it a Wilson's, some type of petrel? I can't remember. I could be completely wrong. But it was a new one for me. And the noise from the turns was just deafening. Did you guys experience that at all? Could you sleep with all the turns?
That didn't bother me at all. I think that the noise of the waves hitting the pylons and the birds, I think, was just more relaxing than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we saw some vertebrates. And then the Spot a Shark program, Gail gave us a nice lecture on how to actually identify, and the fact that you could identify all of these sand tigers based on their spots, much like you would do with the flukes of a whale. And each of them have an identity. And I think there are some resident ones that are under the tower all the time. So that's some research has been done on Frying Pan Tower on the footage. And there's also the Eco Explorer page. If you've ever looked at that, it has the shark cam footage going 24 hours. And I don't remember if that was deployed several years ago. And it's just continuous, nice aquatic sounds, and you get to see all these fun fish swimming around and all the sharks swimming around. It's really cool. Yeah, Adam, this was you, right? You and Richard are making.
Richard is a very interesting individual. You would give him the task, Erika, and ask him, hey, we need this and this to do this. And he would sit there and you would see his wheels turn and he was like, I got a piece of metal for that right there. And he would go run and through this junk drawer over here or this thing over here. And he'd keep on telling me, you never throw anything out, especially when you're up here, because you don't know when you're going to need it. And he would, within 2 to 3 minutes of you asking him to do something, he would figure out how to make something happen. And come on, let's go over here and we got to put this together to do this thing for Erika. Gosh, she's got me running around again.
He loves it.
He did.
What's the full quote that he says, that he's the jack of all trades, master of none, something better than one. I can't remember the full quote, but he really truly is the jack of all trades. He can just, and very, very, very creative. And so anything you need, you just make it. If you needed to weld a drop sampler because you didn't have one from previous experiences, you just go make a drop sampler. So I think we were trying to figure out a way to collect myofauna without diving down to collect sediment. And I think we started out very rudimentary with a bottle connected to a fishing pole with a weight to get the bottle down, to then drag the bottle over the sediment to collect the sediment. So it started that way, and then it became serious. And then I think you guys are in there trying to fabricate something that was a little bit more accurate. And we were able to collect some sediment, but yeah, that's what you do on the tower. You just improvise. This was a short video. I think, are we going down? Or are we coming? I can't remember if she's coming. This is Megan going. Yeah, that's how you get up there. All right. Yep. had a lot of downtime, of course. It's just you guys, and there are luxuries from home. Like I said, there's TVs in every room, and I think AC in every room, and you can Netflix while you're in there. So, 5G, internet, everything. I had work calls and things and Zoom calls for work, and we were able to all connect to our family. And this is just sort of where everybody goes to talk about what did we talk? I mean, we just talked about everything there. It's just like any other gathering. You guys have anything to add?
I do. I don't think you have it on here, but I do appreciate Kim coming along with her computer also, because she also had a presentation that she gave that wasn't something that you had, but was some of her citizen science work. And I really appreciated Kim uh, doing that for us, and talking to us about some of the work that she does in the area too.
Thanks, Adam. It was on bottlenose dolphin.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Kim?
Well, I'm working in a collaborative program with UNCW and Brunswick Community College to get students some field research experience. And so one of the optional things they can do is go out on the boat and take pictures of the fins of bottlenose dolphins. And like we were talking about the spots to identify, you can use the nicks and notches of the fins. And so I had a presentation already on the computer that I work with my students on. And it was just fun to be able to share it. And that was the great thing about the towers. We were all getting to share, nerding out, as Erika said.
And it's so fun to nerd out with other nerds because then you just feel right at home, right? So yeah, there are all sorts of things that can happen out at the tower. I mean, because the water is very shallow, and the temperature, of course, can be very warm, just even a small wetsuit, and lots of diving opportunities, fishing opportunities, just all sorts of things. And so one of the visits that I was able to go, I hitched a ride back with the folks from Wetsuit Scuba who do lead shark tooth adventures. And this is something he gifted me. I mean, I rode back with him and he showed me what he got, and I thought, wow, that is the most amazing thing. I took pictures of it and then he gave it to me. It's like one of the best gifts ever. But I think that's an ear bone and then a megalodon tooth, which was just awesome. So it's right there at the tower, and he has all this gear to sort of blow the sediment, and they go out fairly frequently to collect. Let's see, we did some ocean literacy principles, and I think Gail and I partnered and we did some ocean acidification and some ocean osteoporosis activities. And the acidification one has led to a lot of other things. I've got a grant right now working with teachers from Sampson County and Robinson County on acidification, but then Adam had me back at his school in Stanley County to do this as well. How did your students enjoy that, Adam?
Well, some of them don't listen too good, but the ones that did, I believe they did get, it goes ahead and shows them how important, this is, and how quickly we could change the pH, and it led, I think, doing this right here, doing this stuff with the pH actually got some of my students, whenever it came time for science fair projects, actually wanted to do acidification of like candies and things later on, just because of this right here, and them seeing how quickly, even with water, we could do this. They were like, I wonder how, candy even affects us, if pH is anything to do with that, or if it'll change that type of stuff. So they were able to go on, I think at least to the county level, to do presentations dealing with that right there. So it spoke to a handful of them, and if we just get at least one or two, I'm happy.
Yep. So the premise of the experiment is fairly simple, and it is not an original. I have tweaked it from NIH. And the cups that you see are full of seawater. which was mildly convenient. I think Adam got an extra bucket that day, and we used actual seawater. We took the pH, and then the straws are there so that what you do is you exhale in the seawater for, you can do a 10-second period and a 30-second period, or even a 45-second period, ever how long you want to exhale. And then you take the pH again, and then you see how your exhale of carbon dioxide lowers the pH of just that little bit of water. I mean, that might not even be 10 ounces. And so with varying amounts of exhalation and varying amounts of carbon dioxide that you've introduced to that water, you have literally lowered the pH. So then what I think it has been doing when I've been doing this with other in other places is it lets folks see that their exhale that they're normally doing can affect the pH of a substance. So then you can take that and extrapolate it to larger things where we have lots more carbon dioxide being emitted, and it is dissolved by the ocean, and that does turn it into an acid, and ocean acidification is starting to be a problem. We are eliminating the things that normally take up carbon dioxide, which of course are lots and lots of plants. But what we might not realize, and I'm from the generation of the rainforest. So growing up in school, it was almost instilled that all of our oxygen is coming from the rainforest. We need to save the rainforest. And I think I was in graduate school before I realized that your oxygen that you're breathing right now, over half of it is coming from the ocean. Mm-hmm. And if you acidify that and you make that inhabitable for the things that are producing the oxygen, then it's going to have trophic level failure all the way up. Mm-hmm. And it's a problem. We're seeing it everywhere. Anything that makes a shell, anything that has an exoskeleton of calcium carbonate, so your bivalves, your mussels, your scallops, your oysters, your crabs, your shrimp, anything that makes a shell can be compromised by lower pH. So that's my science spiel on pH, but that's what we were doing there. And I think we've done that with Adam's class, and of course, several others over the state. If you've, I might have been to your classroom and done this. And then on the FPT page, we had, I know this is a lot of text, but this is just a quote from the Frying Pan Tower blog post, and we were excited to get onto that. And then I do have a little bit of the narration from Andrea and Megan on that 360 footage. So I'd like to share that too, if I could, just so you can see the fun things that they were doing. And those two, I hate that they couldn't join us today, but they were just a hoot and really meshed well together. It's like they had known each other for years, but none of us knew each other. So, all right, let's see if I can go to the link. Just a second and get the ad out of the way.
And the winner is T-Mobile Home Internet, J.D. Power's #1 in customer satisfaction.
Excuse us.
But you're right here off the coast.
Fast forward. All right, let's see if I can share this now.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
This,
and do you know that this is often called the Frying Pan Shoals?
I have heard that, yeah. And the tower itself looks kind of like an oil rig.
Really? I bet that's what all these metal poles for. I've definitely heard of that. It has that oil rig shape to it to give it some stability. Oh, look. Look in the background. What do you see? Look at that. Another shark?
Looks like it. Maybe you'll come in for a little bit closer look.
Maybe not. We'll see.
I love this view, though.
What type of camera are we using to get down here?
This is an Insta360 X4. It allows us to explore in 3D.
Oh, there's our shark. Look, what kind is it? Oh, whoa! That got close to us.
It sure did. Well, it's got some spots, but I really couldn't identify it. Maybe it'll come by again. It's got that pointed nose, but really like to be able to see its teeth. That helps.
Yeah, you gotta
identify
get
it.
more at the mouth to be able to see on that one.
There are lots of pinfish, aren't there?
You know, it really did look like a sand tiger shark, though.
You think?
Yeah, those spots that are on the side. We did this training one time, and it was on spotted shark. And we were looking at the different dark spots on the sides. Here he comes again.
Oh wait, he's got his mouth open. Let's see if we can help identify.
And look for those spots, because each one has an individual markings on them. Let's see. It's beautiful.
Looks like he's got some snaggly teeth. And that is definitely distinctive of a sand tiger shark. Look at that tail.
Oh, yeah.
Watch the whole thing, and that's on YouTube as well. And Richard was so gracious to add music to that, and then each of everyone was able to narrate it on their own, and it was just gorgeous. It was a wonderful opportunity. Do you guys have anything to add about that, or I'm going to bring the slides back?
That inspired me to get some Oculus virtual reality headsets here for the college and an Insta360, and we're putting together some curriculum around that for students to use. So really excited about that.
Oh, we should chat about that. I need to kind of know more details about that. That sounds amazing. You can't predict what you're going to do on the tower, so we had lots of backup. I hope we had lots of backup activities. And one of the fun things that the tower has are some really awesome telescopes and ways to, you can see the Milky Way if you've ever seen any of the footage online from when it has been dark. And I think that I am bad luck for clear skies, because every time I've gone, it has been cloudy. And so the first day with this adventure, the night before, Richard's guests slept up top and saw the clear skies and saw the Milky Way. And so then, of course, the next night it was cloudy every night, and we had this really fun activity we were going to do, and we're going to learn all these constellations and things, and it was cloudy every single night. But that did not stop two of you from sleeping up top. So I'll let y'all talk about that.
I think it was like the last night, wasn't it, Adam, that it was a full moon?
It was the very last one.
Yes, we could not resist just being out in the open on the helicopter pad, and even got a little drizzled on, I think, but it was a great experience.
I think we snuck up
I'm glad
there.
that Richard told us to make sure, even though it was a little bit warmer, to take the big wool blankets, because it it did help to have a large wool blanket up there middle of June, and you still needed that, but it was very nice that we were able to get that at least that last night.
Well, that made me a little nervous, because that was not something that I had covered in the things to be scared to do on the tower. And so I think we snuck up there just to check on them, and you guys had put the big chairs in between the mattresses, and I thought, did they do that because they don't want to roll off the tower? And then I couldn't think about it anymore. So
I didn't want my pillow to go blowing off the tower. It's like, if I put all these chairs up, it'll block it. At least I can catch it.
And the air mattress, the air mattress could have caught wind and blew off the tower, but hopefully not with you on it. But you guys have seen it being so windy that it blows the coffee right out of your cup if you're trying to enjoy the sunrise. I think I just had a little environmental spiel about balloons. I love balloons. I think I have every balloon I've ever gotten and received from high school in a scrapbook of some sort. Don't release your balloons. This was taken one of the first times that I visited the tower, and there was just this random yellow balloon floating. It got snagged on the tower for a hot minute, and we tried to rig up some poles and some things to pick it up, but it's hard to catch a floating balloon, 90 feet high. But 30 some miles offshore, and I guess it went to Bermuda, maybe. I'm not even sure which way the wind was blowing that day, but yeah, don't release balloons. They do end up in the water. Okay, Let's make salt. Does anybody want to talk about this experience? I just sort of stood back and recorded the workings of Richard's brain and everybody else figuring out how to do this.
This was
I believe he referred to it as his death ray. Right, Sandy?
Yes. This is the very first day we had just gotten there. He had given us a tour of the lower belly, and then he took us up top, and then all of a sudden he was going to do this. And so I stood back with the camera and took a lot of these pictures. But he had a huge lens, a magnifying glass or lens, and I don't know, did it come off the lighthouse? I don't remember, but he had made this thing, and we put it out there, and he was talking, and then we realized that we were smelling something, and he'd actually caught the wood on fire. It was actually burning, and we were taking pictures of it. But we had a blast. They tried to get it right. There's a picture somewhere of Kim with goggles on, trying to direct the beam to where it was supposed to be, and we left it like that. And we also put a pot on the stove, and we did get it hot, but I don't think it ever boiled. Didn't we give up on it eventually?
I think the angle of, yeah, I don't think it quite got hot enough, but that was how we were going to boil the water this time to make salt. Yeah, the goggles, because it would have really burned your eyes to look through that. But I don't know if I think I know I have a picture somewhere of Kim in these really weird green bug-eyed goggles. They were wild. And you can see in the background the solar panels, and I think as the update, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that he said that now it can be 100% solar powered.
Yes.
And so there are backup generators, but he was working on getting all of the solar panels in line. And so we are on the top there. So this is the helipad, and you can see a little bit behind Adam, there's sort of not a compass, but a compass painted on the bottom. So that's where you would land if you go by helicopter. So this was the better way, 5 gallons of water, and you just boil it down, sieve it on a very fine, like 65 micrometer mesh, and get all the critters out that you don't know that are in there. And then you boil it down, and then you bake it. So I can't say what Richard calls that formally on the video, but it is salt. And then, of course, just anything submerged is going to have some fouling and become an artificial reef. And so one of my favorite things is to try to pluck things off of these pylons and bring them back up to see what's there, and just the number of organisms that it supports. I mean, I think one of the visitors for the tower mentioned that he saw or sees a fish species here that he never sees unless he's in a tropical reef. I was about to say rainforest, but anyway, so yeah, so the diversity is really awesome. Shallow water, lots of coral, lots of sponges and tunicates and all sorts of things growing on the tower itself. And then I couldn't resist taking a shot from directly underneath the tower from snorkeling. And just some of the lodging. It's very rustic. I think I warned everybody about that. It's not, it's just rustic and rusty. And so, it's made of metal. And then fun light that will work. And once that light goes out and the pitch black, it's just, you do feel like you're on another planet. It's crazy. And you see some of the telescopes there. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Some of these bottom slides. Like I said, everybody got along, had fun. Downtime, we just kind of goofed off, and I worried about their carbon dioxide level on the inside of this, but I think it was okay. And then I have the link here for the explorer.org, so you can see that camera footage 24/7 from underneath the tower. And if anything bad happened or negative, I think on a minor level, I mean, nothing major happened, but I spent time up top trying to make sure everybody had the right gear and that nothing leaked, because when you go down 80 feet to snorkel, there's nowhere for you to stand and check your booties, or nowhere to check your mask or if your snorkel's leaking. So Cindy went down, and I don't know if this was her first time snorkeling. Cindy, was that your first time?
In the ocean.
In the ocean.
I've been scuba diving and it didn't
Yeah.
bother me at all, but I had stepped on my glasses the night before and broken them.
That's right.
And I didn't have glasses. I couldn't
We
see.
were I forgot about, we were trying to finagle how to get her broken glasses like taped inside of her goggles so that she could see. And you know, it looks calm and it is, but there's still like a 3-foot swell up and down, up and down. And so when it was calm enough for us to snorkel and take video, I should have went down and just got our buoyancy right and laid down and figured out how to do it. But that was my only regret. I didn't get to go down with Cindy and
It's all right.
and
We're
do
going
this.
to
But
try it
it was
again.
rough. Yeah,
We're gonna
it
do it
was
again.
still rough. We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again.
Yeah. And do you guys have anything to add about your snorkeling adventure?
I did see enough that I did see a shark. I know that I saw sharks, and I've got some really good, cool footage of the fish swimming around the poles. But yeah, I enjoyed every bit of it, all of it.
I loved it. There's a lot of barracuda there, more than I've ever seen in my life, all lined up. It's interesting. They line up with the current. And it's a little nerve-wracking sliding down in among them. We made sure not to have any shiny objects on, but absolutely amazing. And they kind of felt like your posse once you were down there swimming.
They kind of
I
come
remember
up
you
and
saying,
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. I just remember Kim saying that I felt like I had my own bodyguard with these barracudas around me and all.
They kind of come up to you and say, "Oh, who are you?" You know, and just kind of like look at you, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you're one of them," and then they just kind of go away.
Yeah,
but
it was awesome. I was looking at our time. I could go on and on. I'm sure we could all go on and on for a couple more hours, Chris, but I'm not sure what our time looks like and if there were any questions or anything we needed to tackle from the chat.
Yeah, I think we have just a few minutes remaining. And
Okay.
if you're ready to take a few questions, I think that would be a great way to wrap things.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have just a sort of a thank you slide there, just with some shenanigans that were happening. So yeah.
Fantastic stuff. I am so jealous and envious of the experiences that y'all got to have. And on that note, one of the questions that came in for all of you in the chat that I'll go straight to was, what were your favorite things about staying on the tower that you will always remember? Erika?
So it's about a 2-hour boat ride out, and there for a minute, you can't see anything but water. And then slowly, this tiny, for the flat earthers, this tiny thing, this curve comes into view. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you realize that's the tower. And somehow that moment, it just becomes, that's where you're going. You're going there, and then you're going to go up there, and you're going to stay there. And you get to do all these wonderful things. And it's just a very, very special place for me.
Cindy, what about you?
I think mine was, and Erika had told us this, that you'll see colors of blue in the ocean that you have never seen before. And the water was just so blue, and I was so immersed in nature itself, that somebody that loves nature so much, there's no way to describe it at all. It's just wonderful.
Amazing. Kim?
I would have to say sharing it. You feel like you're out in this really disconnected place 30 miles offshore, and I'm FaceTiming my family and colleagues at work, walking around the tower, giving a tour of how amazing this off-grid system is and Richard's ingenuity. I mean, he was doing a reverse osmosis water system when we were there, getting all of that put together. So, and I've come back and been able to share that experience with my students. I think the ability to share it while you're live and out there on the tower is amazing.
Wow. Adam?
They has several different posters up, which are like the original blueprints of what this was when it was first made, and just going around it, looking at that, looking at this building, and just imagine the history that this building has, and what it is now. I think, and doing that imagination with what's going to come and what this building was, and all, was really one of the things I enjoyed most, especially in my free time doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Another one that came in for y'all was, what did your students find most exciting when you got back and shared the experience with them? Adam, you talked about doing science fair projects based on some of the activities there. Would you say that was sort of the
I think so, and I want to continue doing that. And it is really the reason I did stuff like this. It is one of those things where they have a lot of like, is this real or is this not? And being able to say, hey, whenever I did this thing, and they're like, oh, okay, and so it's a whole legitimacy thing about, hey, whenever I did this with Dr. Erika and at this spot right here, and they're like, okay, we got it. It's real, it's real. So it gives you a little bit more legitimacy.
Wow. Kim, what about you and the community college students?
Well, I mentioned that I was inspired by the Insta360, and I think the ability to put a student under the tower, real time, being able to just turn their heads and look and be suspended in the ocean is just an amazing opportunity for students. So not just for me to be there and see it, but to be able to share this with students, it's just an amazing opportunity, because the reality is I won't get all my students out to the tower, but I can really genuinely share that experience.
And Cindy, remind me, what's the grade range for your students?
We're early college, so we're 9 through 12, and they get they can get a degree while they're here at the community college. Yeah.
Well, how did they respond then? Because we've got like different ages of learners here between teachers.
They most of them were very, very excited for me when I was picked to go. They didn't really know what it would entail, and to be quite honest, I didn't either. But I am one of the older teachers here, and I have had a hip replacement, and I have a lot of joint problems. And so I was very concerned about what I could do and what I couldn't do. And my kids were just very supportive of me. Miss Martin, you can do it. Go do it. You can do it. This is going to be a lifetime adventure. And so I did it. And so now it's like, Miss Martin did this. So if she can do this, then I can pass this class. I can take this test. So it was kind of more of a kind of a boost for them as much as it was a boost for me.
I love that. A life lesson alongside the science lessons that come from it too.
Correct.
That's fantastic. Okay, the next one that came in for y'all was, did everyone get to take some salt home, and what have you made with it?
It's just salt. You put it on margarita. I mean, anything.
Mine is in a bottle. Mine is in a bottle on my kitchen cabinet, on my kitchen counter. And it says do not eat, because I don't want anybody to touch it.
Souvenir salt.
Yeah.
I have tasted it with my son, so he said, this tastes like the ocean. It's like, yep, that is correct.
Every time you need to just remember Frying Pan Tower, you sprinkle a little extra on top, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's fantastic. Well, that will get us to time. Thanks, everybody. This was lovely to see the experience, hear about the lessons that you were able to bring back for yourselves and for your students. And I mean, I always love to see people just having the opportunity to be out in nature, totally immersed in the great things that come from that. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's wonderful.
And Erika, thanks for coordinating. What an incredible program to be offering out of NCC grant. For
Oh,
North
I can't.
Carolina.
I hope I get to offer it again. I've got a grant in limbo right now. We'll see. But yeah, we'll see. But let me put the plug. Richard always takes volunteers in eco tours. So you can go out there on your own and have whatever experience you would like. If you wanted to help and restore and work, and you can go as a volunteer, or if you want it as like a little mini vacation, you can do the Eco Explore part. So yeah, check out the website. There's all sorts of gear. There's coffee. There's all sorts of fun things that he has partnered with to help support the mission of the tower.
Excellent stuff. Everybody, thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Lunchtime Discovery Series. It was a great one, so I hope you'll come back again and check it out next week. We'll be back here next Wednesday at noon. Head to the website eenorthcarolina.org. There you can sign up for the email newsletter for this lecture series at that website. That way you can get the YouTube link in your inbox every week. That way all you got to do is click through and come and join us, meet some interesting people, maybe learn something new. So I hope I'll see you again here next month for the last presentation in our Earth Month series. Don't miss out. They drop the information and the link to the museum's website if you want to read up about the program. We'll be talking about geospatial information systems, GIS, and satellite imagery for flood mapping. So prescient things happening over here at the Lunchtime Discovery Series. Don't miss out. Thanks to today's guests, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Bye, folks.
Thank you, Chris.